Hello, everybody, and we're live. Today we have another special treat for you. We have the Despotica Part 3, Xim at Vontor, and we have some returning cast members as well as a new cast member with us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the main players and say who everybody's playing. And then we're going to get right into it. And I hope you stick around until the end because there's going to be a postscript afterwards. That's an in-universe reference to this specific play. So first we have here the main players. We have Xim the Despot, which is being played again by Tidus. We have Indrexu, his consort, which is being played by Brennan, who is reprising his role as Indrexu. We have Jamineer, General of Xim's ground forces, who's being played by Ken Palpatine, and welcome to the crew, Ken. We have Oziaf, the Tintin Tinkerer, who's being played by none other than Brennan, again. Corps Commander, the lead war robot, is being played by myself. We have Keldrath, Admiral in Xim's Starfleet, also being played by Ken Palpatine. We have Robier II, Duke of Kron, who is being played by myself. And we have Lord Tyon, head of House of Tyon, who's being played by Tidus. And I will be narrating it. So I hope you enjoy. Xim at Vontor, excerpts by Peshosloc, modernized from the Mid-Galactic Standard. Fade in. Exterior, space. Triple moons part their celestial junction to reveal the giant planet they orbit. Title: Vontor System. Cyclada Cluster. While their lunar images appear in double, reflections that ripple across the planet's curium-laced surfaces. Often mistaken for a much hypothesized white hole, the world of Vontor would seem a virtual mirror in space, if not for the other orbital dance it hosts. And what a dance it is. From afar, it looks like a swarm of fire zips, whipped up in a frenzy of mating season, blinking and belching their lovely flames. On closer inspection, those flames do more than excite the intended partner. Heat beams lance out from inorganic metallic flyers. Explosions blossom in rage once again in Vontor's mirror. This is a ballet of war, engaged by the largest starfleets ever assembled in Hollows or history. 1,000,000 ships, heavy and light, of every model and class. Hutt war yachts, Livian cutters, Thanium starglaves, Cronian battlebirds, spinning and sparring with each other in murderous minuets of their own. And in the center of the dance, alone and still, drifts its choreographer, the Death Knell. Argy's massive floating fortress has no double in Vontor's blaze. Instead, the vessel makes reflections of its own, bouncing offending lasers to snuff out their offending sources. For Curium itself alloys the Death Knell's steel, and shows the fight from all angles. In honeycomb engine housing, and narrow conduit trenches, in the shielding of weapon batteries, and the spires of command centers. But near one parapet, there is a void in the reflections, a gap where Lomite glass replaces Curium steel, to allow for a window into Death Knell's heart, where two figures stand. Interior, command bridge, Death Knell. Xim the Despot, hands folded behind a scarlet shimmer cape, gazes out the viewport. He is calm, almost serene, as fireballs engulf the starfield.
The buccaneers of Corlas like to say that thrice the sacking sips out all the spoils.
Beside him is his trophy, Indrexu, her long black hair framing a face for which the galaxy has no equal.
Today my boot will squash these worms once and for all, and then I will have all the curium I need.
A burst of static truncates his gloating. It emanates from one of the many robotic automatons which crew the stations.
That damn racket will be my bane. If my dwarf doesn't squelch it soon, his pelt will make you a warm coat.
Indrexu says not a word.
Overlord?
Has he isolated the source?
No, sir.
Crisp and handsome in his olive green general's uniform, Faisal Jamineer stands behind the command podium, the only other human on the bridge.
But Admiral Keldroth reports the last jump gate has been taken.
Already? Can Keldriff not allow me more than a moment to revel in the beauty we have wrought?
Unless you desire the huts to retreat.
No, Cossack will not be able to wriggle out this time. Discharge the pulse cannons.
At this close range?
You have a concern, my dear?
Indrexu casts a worried glance at Jamineer.
Overlord, a discharge could cause massive collateral damage among our forces, especially among the Thanium fleet.
Of which I am unconcerned. Thanios' men know there is no greater sacrifice than to give their lives to the glory of my legend.
Both Indrexu and Jamineer turn pale.
You may fire when ready.
Exterior, death knell, space. A series of pulsating energy rings crackle and expand around the bow of the ship, then spiral toward the most crowded arena of battle. Space itself seems to shudder as the pulse rings soar through the emptiness, then brightens when they encircle hulls and overheat engine cores. Interior, command bridge, death knell. The viewport turns a burning white, and the despot smiles.
Well, thank you now, my queen, of the third battle of Vontor.
May it be the last.
Indeed.
She walks toward the lift. Interior, corridor, death knell. At attention along the wall, black-steeled war robots move to follow Indrexu. Jamineer rushes out from the bridge.
Spare a moment, Your Highness.
Don't call me that.
The Corps commander breaks from the war robot guard to block Jamineer. The bone-white death's head stamped on its chest is poised eye level with the general.
Machine, what are you doing? Stand down!
Static hisses from the Corps commander's speaker grill.
The master has ordered the maintenance of a security perimeter around his consort.
I am the general of Xim's forces. You stand down when I say I will have you gutted for a galley appliance.
The Corps commander raises its weapon arm, a gesture mimicked by the other war robots.
Fine. Forget I asked. I was merely trying to salvage the operation.
Salvage? You let Thanios die?
Indrexu glares at him through the steel arms.
I had no choice. If I had argued any further, he would have been executed on the spot.
That can still be arranged, Corps Commander.
Jamineer begins to backpedal.
Interference momentarily dampening sound reception. Please hold, mistress.
To think that it is but static that comes between us.
You don't have to do this. You'd be no better than him.
That's where you have it wrong. I am better than...
The sustained jolt of static forces Indrexu and Jamineer to cover their ears. Two of the robots rotate their cannons in erratic fashion. Another bumps again and again into the wall. When the noise finally ends...
Are you trying to deafen me?
Acoustic channel switched. Repeat, command, mistress.
March to that repair room and find the rodent. Get him to deactivate these horrid audio comms at once.
Instruction will dissolve the security perimeter.
What security? You are malfunctioning. And as of the Overlord's concert, I cannot have defective mechanicals trying to protect me.
Command. Approved, mistress.
The Corps Commander's cranial turret parades a rainbow of lights. Then all the guards turn and stomp down an adjacent hallway, except one, continuing to walk into the wall, caught in a recursive loop.
Brainless bullet head.
Jamineer presses the shutdown button under its cranial turret, then breathes relief. Interior, General's Quarters, Death Knell. The Tin engineer Oziaf sits on the floor and pulls out a tangle of electronic components from behind the desk.
Interference? Interference? Where do you buzz?
He starts nibbling on wire housing to open it.
Can't have my children, or my master, suffer your noise anymore.
His ears prick up, muffled voices, just outside the doors. Oziaf grabs the components and ducks. The doors whisk open. Indrexu and Jamineer enter. Indrexu heads to the viewport and looks out at the dying battle. Oziaf trembles, squeezed beneath the desk.
Thanios would have done the same if he was in my position.
You are all cowards.
Listen, we must deal with the Hutts first. Get one enemy out of the way.
Jamineer, if you are unwilling to do the deed, I know others have expressed interest. Keldrat, for instance.
Do you truly want his grubby hands all over you?
How little you men comprehend. Why should I care if it is Thanios, Keldrat, or you?
Her eyebrow arches.
That is, if you can afford my price.
The comm chime startles them. A red bulb lights up on the desk's console.
General Jamineer. General.
Jamineer bends over his desk to speak into the intercom. Below, Oziaf grips his knees to his chest.
Yes, Overlord?
I want you to welcome your fellow commanders in the hangar bay. Inform them they must substitute their uniforms and sidearms for the finest garb in their wardrobes. A grand feast is being prepared to celebrate my victory.
So soon?
Let us just say that the collateral damage was more than sufficient.
I will be there at once, Overlord.
The intercom cuts out.
Did he hear us?
Doubtful. The jammer Lord Tion provided will have clouded our conversation.
Is that what's causing all the interference?
A necessary annoyance.
She slaps him in the face.
You bungling jackleg. You risk exposing the whole operation.
Do you know of any other way to communicate with the others?
Indrexu huffs, stalks to the doors.
Wait.
Fail me again, and the price will be your life.
She storms out. The general rubs his cheek. Under the desk, Oziaf scratches his fur, twitching uncontrollably. Interior, hangar, death knell. Attired in their best, Admiral Keldrath, Lord Tyon, and Robier II, Duke of Kron, disembark from an escort shuttle. Jamineer waits at the end of the egress ramp.
The Overlord is pleased. You have given him the victory he's long desired. The pleasure is all ours. Will Queen Indrexu attend the feast? I'll keep my hands in my lap if I were you, Admiral.
Interior, corridor, death knell. War robots guard every bulkhead they pass.
I see the Overlord has taken to our new models. Very much saying our Tintin engineer, Her Highness, and yours truly, the crew of the Death Knell, is entirely automaton.
The Overlord does not like to employ flesh and bloods.
After the disaster of the first battle, he prefers the reliability of his robots. And what about you? I appreciate their efficiency.
Oh, how so?
They do precisely as they are instructed, though their acoustic sensors have a tendency to pick up outside interference.
Do they? It must have been a flaw in the Tintin's original design. I'll have my engineers recheck the components, but a remote reset may do the trick.
Tyon adjusts the circuit-laden control belt he wears.
Still, I hope it hasn't provoked any major hassles.
Only a slap in the face.
These bots must make wonderful soldiers. You can send them to their doom without complaint. A shame we won't see them in action on Vontor.
I wouldn't rest my crown so fast, Kron. You may yet get your wish. I have heard rumors the Huts have raised another army in secret.
The others slow.
Another army?
Pah! The Huts are done.
If they had one, why haven't they used it? I don't know.
Keldrath lays a meaty grip on Jaminir's shoulder.
Perhaps they are searching for better leaders.
Jaminir hits a switch on the wall. The doors part. Interior. Banquet hall. Death knell. Xim and Drexu sit at the end of a long table, laden with platters of savory meats and fruits. Xim lets go of Indrexu's hand and rises.
Gentlemen, care you for some refreshment?
Keldrath grins at the queen.
I'd like nothing better.
An apron-wearing corps commander pulls out chairs. Keldrath hurries to his, next to Indrexu.
Your Majesty, always an honor.
The honor is all mine, Admiral Keldrath.
She offers her delicate hand. Closing his eyes, Keldrath kisses it with relish. Jaminir sits across from her. She avoids his glare.
A pity Thanios cannot join us. Yes.
A pity.
Tense silence all around. The corps commander pours ale into goblets. The Duke of Kron lifts his.
If I could be so bold, Overlord, to propose the first toast for our triumphant Xim, conqueror of Vontor and crusher of slugs.
Kron looks to Tyon.
Whose fist shall enclose the stars?
All eyes on Jaminir.
And who shall outlive time? May he and his beloved queen reign forever.
Hear, hear!
Clinks and drinks.
Nothing better than a douse of Derilium's finest after a long day's work, eh?
Particularly after all the work is done.
Xim puts down his goblet. The corps commander lays a needlebeamer pistol on Jaminir's plate.
General Jamnir, can you do us the kind favor of finishing this long day and terminating Admiral Keldrath's service?
Keldrath coughs and spits out the ale. Jaminir blinks, stupefied.
Excuse me, my lord?
Directly between those ugly eyes, so that my queen avoids any splatter on her gown. Overlord, perhaps the brew has hit you too hard. Actually, I would like to enjoy another round, without the former Admiral's company, so if you can please expedite this facile.
Jaminir glances at the gun, then at the panic-stricken Keldrath.
Please, no. May I ask what he has done to deserve execution?
My General Haradan spies watched him hold his guns when Cossac's escape pod launched.
That was his pod? I thought it housed his lackeys.
Is that your best excuse?
The Admiral was probably trying to show mercy to our new serfs.
My commanders do not dole out mercy. Only I am vested with that power.
Weapons arms poke out from beneath aprons of the war robots.
I apologize, Overlord. It will not happen again.
Of course it won't, once your corpse hits the floor.
To Jaminir.
Time to show your loyalty, General. That your word is worth more than my engineers.
Jaminir looks around the table. Kron edges back his chair. Tyon reaches for his belt. Indrexu wipes off her dinner knife. Keldrath's eyes plead for his life.
Yes, I am aware of the jammer you installed in your quarters, so you could hide your private liaisons with my queen.
What is the Doretha intimating?
Tyon touches a button on his belt. Xim takes Indrexu's hand.
I intimate nothing, but I remember all. How I rescued a certain orphan from the plank, then adopted him like a son.
Jamineer picks up the needle beamer from the plate.
Enrolled him in the highest institutes of learning, even named him my general.
Tyon's belt beeps. Luminodes flash across the Corps Commander's cranial current.
Yet I feel he fails to appreciate what he has been given. Is he but another organic ingrate? Or has he had just a momentary lapse of oblivion?
No, he remembers.
Jamineer aims the needle beamer at Keldrath.
All too well he remembers.
Shifts it ever so slightly.
How your pirates plundered his home, ravaged his mother,
To target Xim.
murdered his father.
Corps Commander, shoot this traitor.
Tyon keys a code onto the belt. The Corps Commander's luminodes go dark.
Cannot process command during reboot.
What? I never ordered.
Jamineer fires the needle beamer at Xim. The despot drops, his head steaming.
We must run! The warbot will be online again in moments!
Kron opens the door. Keldrath is the first out, but Jamineer stands frozen, staring at the fallen despot.
What have I done?
What he did many years ago.
She pulls his elbow.
Come, else the others steal our slice of his empire.
Interior, corridor, death knell. Oziath whistles merrily as he drops out of a conduit.
Problem fixed. Jammer gone. Robots happy. Oziath happy. Master happy.
Moans from deeper down the corridor cuts short his tune. Oziath pads carefully forward, and skitters back when a shape crawls around the corner. Blood mucks the shimmer cape. Blackened hair lingers in clumps. A charred half-ear oozes tympanic pus.
Master? Is that you?
Xim raises his head to look in Oziath's direction. One eye blinks. The other socket exposes a gaping wound.
By the white dwarfs of Ren.
Interior, repair room, death knell. Xim sits on a workbench turned makeshift operating table. Turbo wrenches, laser solders, and sundry other tools hang on the wall racks around him. Devices in various states of disrepair clutter the floor. Oziath scours through his crate of war robot components.
I don't know, Master. I don't know.
Oziath anchors his foot on a cranial turret and yanks out a metallic ball, snaked in wires.
I didn't design these optic lenses for organic use.
Then redesign them. You're the engineer.
Oziath tugs at his ears. He removes a soldering iron from the rack.
It could place my master in greater pain.
Xim growls and grabs the Tintin by his furry neck, lifting him far above the floor.
You waste time. Even as we speak, they are regrouping.
Master, your loyal servant only once. Is master not to suffer any more?
Xim's gloved hand constricts. Oziath wheezes.
Do what I command, or forever hold your squeaks.
Yes, yes.
Xim tightens his grip. Oziath's tongue flaps, eyes bulge. His little life strangled out of him. Then Xim releases and he falls, failing to land on all fours.
Master.
Xim lies down on the workbench.
You may proceed.
Oziath swallows, then scampers up. Xim's one-eye stare makes him shudder.
Now.
Oziath winces, then gingerly picks the frayed nerves out from Xim's socket. He starts to solder them to the wires of the ball. Sparks fly. Blood shoots. Xim grits his teeth through the entire operation. Oziath thumbs the ball in place. He steps back.
Try to engage the lens, Master.
Xim sits up, kicks the clutter. His good eye blinks, and he squints with his other. The metal casing of the ball splits. Shutter opens. Oziath shields his eyes, blinded by the bright light that streams out.
So this is how they see. In the infrared, ultraviolet, and the 20 spectrums.
Optic lens rotates.
I should have done this sooner.
Oziath brushes down the patches of his frazzled fur.
Oziath is happy that his master is happy.
Remove the other lens. Replace my other eye.
But Master, it's perfectly healthy.
Xim reaches for his human eye. He starts to dig.
No, Master, don't!
Squishes, a pop, and Xim plucks out his eye.
If I'm to lead my war robots in battle against those black gods, I must see as they do.
His fist clenches. Vitreous humor squirts between his fingers.
Their world is my world now.
The shutter of his optic lens widens even more. A brilliant sunburst. Exterior canyon floor. Day. That becomes twinned, blazing in both sockets of the war robot Deathhead's insignia. Xim's new emblem also seems to have bestowed the Corps commander a new functionality. The chief war robots oversees its lesser models haul green curium slabs from a dark cavern into the holds of Xim's gigantic treasure carrier, Queen of Ranroon. Title: Yelsmouth Canyons, Vontor. Xim strides down the ramp. Oziath hurries behind him, playing with a detector device.
Where are they? You said the traitors fled here.
As I keep saying, Master, our MyTag sensors are T&E's handiwork.
So are my eyes, and I can still make out their jet trails in the skies.
His photoreceptors move in and out of their sockets.
The scum couldn't have just disappeared.
Xim surveys the barren tundra before him. Wind whistles through the claw-shaped arches. Dust storms pepper the horizon.
At least I'll get my curium. Corps Commander, how goes the haul?
Cavern almost depleted of value. Further exploitation requires more sophisticated equipment.
Your pulse cannons can't blast open new tunnels? I didn't pay for them to go unused.
Master, it's a matter of depth, not weaponry. Their locomotors cannot handle the sheer slope of terrain down there.
What did you equip them with? Wheel tires?
The laser reflective curium you requested weighs on their joints, Master.
Xim fumes and looks over his war robots, from their block feet to the bone-white skulls on their chest plates, to the luminodes that blink in the dark cavern. His optic lenses suddenly flash.
Why, yes. It is a matter of depth. Corps Commander, stop the haul. Prepare for war.
War?
Request desired enemy, sir.
The huts, the traitors, Vontor itself.
Turns to Cave.
They're down there, deep, using the curium loads to mask their presence.
But Master, is that wise? The war robots are not like your Star Lancers. They perform best on level terrain.
War is war, dwarf. If you fear its glory, be gone. I will not allow those miscreants to steal my queen and slip from my grasp again.
Yes, a good idea, Master. I will stay put and watch over the ship.
Oziath scurries up the ramp of the Queen of Ranroon. Xim raises his black-gloved hand in defiance.
Today my fist shall enclose. Today my name shall outlive any villain who dares oppose me.
One gesture from the Corps commander, and the war robots drop their loads and make a 3-point synchronous turn to Xim.
The third battle of Vontor ends here. It ends now.
The army marches in step behind Xim. His shimmer cape sails in the wind.
And as said my queen, it shall be the last indeed.
Xim laughs, despotically. Well, there you have it. And I hope you stick around for a little bit more so that you can see the postscript that was written by Michael Kogge, who also wrote the Despotica Part 3. I'd like to thank Brennan, Quinlan Vos for joining me, Ken Palpatine, and Tidus. Thank you all. And I hope you enjoyed this reading. Postscript to the Despotica Part 3, Xim at Vontor, by Michael Kogge. Illustrations by Cat Staggs. Peshosloc, 15,762 BBY to 15,609 BBY. 10,000 years and a couple thousand volumes in the Despotica separate Lyacusis from Peshosloc, the holowright who launched Xim into his next echelon of infamy. For before Xim found the pen of Peshosloc, he was primarily a creature of the stage, a tragic role the greatest of actors played to wealthy audiences in nectar festivals. But after Peshosloc's 90-odd holoplays, Xim erupted into a galactic phenomenon known to rich and poor alike as the devastator of civilizations, the most heinous being in recorded time, the eyes of evil itself, or simply, the despot. Peshosloc strayed from the path Lyacusis had blazed, deciding to drop all pretense of poetic diction and instead entrance viewers with the most vivid and lurid of spectacles. Xim became his vessel to showcase these extraordinary events common beings did not witness in their daily lives. Epic space battles, exploding moons, wars in 7 solar systems, even mass spacings of entire populations. Despite his taste for ostentation and the grotesque, critics hailed Peshosloc's scripts as more than just bang and boom. Where others had tried and failed, Peshosloc succeeded in blowing up the Despotica for popular consumption because he never wrote down to his audience. Throughout dazzling detonations and sordid villainy, he wove simple tragedies of the heart, the very foundation of good space opera. Xim's madness had motivation. Passion and betrayal, those most ordinary of emotions, drove Xim to the heights of brutality. Success breeds detractors, particularly in academia. Held in highest contention is Peshosloc's contract, fiercely defended by his estate, which stipulates that every holo shot from his scripts be subtitled "based on a true story," regardless whether or not it is all his invention. This has led many non-discerning spectators to believe that they are watching history as it actually unfolded. Even school teachers show Peshosloc's holos in lieu of having their classes study the original sources. When the proponents for a standard revised galactic continuity complained to Republic censors that Peshosloc was perverting the truth for pure entertainment, the holowright quipped, "What the despot did, done have we all." One truth is certain. Of all the writers collected in the Despotica, none have come close to beating Peshosloc at the box office, and it is likely to stay that way in the foreseeable future. New holos made from Peshosloc's scripts continue to break records as every generation of directors strive to prove their mettle and trump the award-winning spectacles of the past.